How's it going, folks? I'm Cody Campbell with High Ground Gaming. Today we're going to be unboxing and reviewing the HyperX Vision S webcam. I'm going to start by walking you through the specs, then we'll open it up, let you take a look at what comes inside. After that, we'll go to the review portion where I'll give you my thoughts on it, and then we'll go to High Ground Gaming's final score. Stick around. So real quick before we dive into the review, I just want to start by saying this is a new room. I have just moved and this is now my new office where I'll be recording. Half my equipment is still in boxes, so I apologize if the lighting isn't great or if it's a little echoey in here. I still haven't soundproofed the room yet, but I am planning on it. So this is just my first video in here. Also, please like and subscribe. So the Vision S is an 8-megapixel camera that has two different shooting modes. It can either shoot 1080p at 60 frames per second for that high speed, so you're not going to get motion blur and stuff like that if you're moving quickly in front of the camera, or it can shoot 4K at 30 frames per second, which obviously is a much higher resolution, lower frame rate. It also has a glass lens and a magnetic privacy cover, and it can use autofocus, which on webcams you probably want. That's about it for the specs though. Let's open it up. I do not have a vertical camera mounted in here yet, so I'm just gonna hold it up while I open it. So open it like this so you can see. So here's the actual camera. It's pretty long. As you can see, it's already got this magnetic privacy plate over the front there. There's the lens, and it comes pre-attached to a monitor mount. And it looks like it's got a fair amount of rotation and swivel on there, which is always appreciated. Let's see what else came in the box. So we've got a quick start guide and some other paperwork in here. And then we have a braided USB type A to USB type C cable. The braided I appreciate. The red and black, I know those are HyperX's colors, but I prefer more neutral tones, like just solid black ones. Then again, a USB Type-C cable isn't exactly difficult to replace, so you could always change that up if you want to. The camera has a little bit of weight to it. It's heavy enough that it feels like a quality piece of material, but not so heavy that I'm worried about mounting it on top of a monitor. I think it would balance just fine up there. I'm excited to test this out. All right, folks, I've had some time to play around with the HyperX Vision S, and I'm ready to talk about it. But first, like and subscribe if you haven't already. All right, so clearly you're watching this on the Vision S right now. I currently have it set to the 1080p 60 setting, and that's because I want to compare it to the other webcam that I've been using, which is the Logitech C920 Pro. Let me pull that up. Okay, so on top here, we have the Vision S, and on the bottom, we have the Logitech C920 Pro. The Pro is one of the most popular webcams on the market. It's been very, very popular for a very long time. It's not a 4K webcam, but it is pretty affordable. It comes in around $70, I believe, and it's pretty good quality for the price that you pay. It's a little old now, but it's still kind of dominating the webcam market and has been for a very, very long time. But if you look at the two together, you can see there are some pretty big differences. The first and most obvious is the field of view, right? The Vision S has a 90-degree field of view, where the C920 Pro has a 78-degree field of view. So you can see that it's a much more confined image on the C920 Pro, where the Vision S, you can see a lot more of the room, and it's just a wider, more open feeling. Second thing you probably notice is the coloring. It's very different. The C920 is a little bit washed out. There is some stuff that you can do to adjust that in post, but I wanted to just show you the raw footage from both of these cameras so that you can get a decent idea of what the starting point is for most of them. Clearly, the Vision S has much higher degree of color accuracy, and it's pretty well lit, especially considering I could not cover the window behind me because I don't have curtains yet. I just moved into this house. I don't have everything all set up yet. But like you can even kind of see out the window on the Vision S, where with the C920, it's just a big glare. Both of them shoot 1080p at 60 frames per second. So as you can see, the motion blur is about the same on both of them. It's not going to be too bad with either because 60 frames per second is pretty quick for a webcam. The only thing that I think the C920 might be doing a little bit better is balancing shadows. As you can see, I think, yeah, this side of my face looks a little bit more shadowy on the Vision S, and the C920 just looks a little bit clearer. But why don't you go ahead and drop down into the comments and let me know what you think. Okay, so here is the HyperX NGENUITY software for the Vision S. I'm gonna start by saying that this has been a very buggy experience for me so far. I mean, I know this camera has just come out, and so there will probably be some updates down the line, but I've had a lot of problems with this software. To start, I already had the NGENUITY software installed for this headset here. So the Vision S, when I first plugged it in, it did appear there, but it wouldn't let me modify anything. Everything was grayed out and it wouldn't let me do it. I restarted the computer, no luck. I had to uninstall and reinstall the software to get control of the Vision S through this software. And even then, it's been finicky at best. So keep that in mind. It might get better as HyperX has the opportunity to install updates. I don't think they've updated the software since before this camera came out. So their next update will probably solve a lot of the bugs, but right now, I can't make any promises. It's pretty buggy. But let's just go through how it works and what it does real quick. So up here in the top right corner is the options. And the main thing that this is gonna do is it's gonna let you select the resolution and frame rate. It automatically defaults to 1920 by 1080. And one thing that I've noticed is that it seems to go back to that every time I close the software. It seems to go back to that default. But here's the 4K 30 frames per second. It also had a couple lower resolution options there if you want them. I'm going to go ahead and leave it on the 4K resolution because this is a YouTube video and I think that will be better. Down here we have framing. This is the widest angle that you can get. It's that full 90-degree angle. And as you can see most of my room through there. It's a mess, but you can see it. Then you can actually zoom in, and this is more of like, I think it's supposed to be shoulders up sort of view, and then here's the full headshot. This is another thing I've kind of noticed. Sometimes you have to click it twice, and sometimes there's a little bit of a lag when you're messing with the framing, so don't expect that to be instantaneous. Let's go back to the widest one. Okay. Here you have the autofocus, and you can turn that off. As you can see, I got blurry, and then you can just manually adjust that to get it right where it should be. If you're not planning on moving around at all, that might be better. You might be able to fine tune it and get it a little bit better than what the autofocus can do. But if you plan on moving back and forth, anything like that, then turning the autofocus on is probably better. Exposure and white balance, on the other hand, it does not seem like the automatic adjustment for those is great. So I kind of mess with those myself a little bit. Let's get that. Turn the gain down and turn the exposure up a little. And then we'll go to the white balance, turn that down. Oop, that's a little too warm. I'll have to tinker with this a little bit more to get the colors just right, but you can leave those on auto if you want to. I already think that this looks a little bit better than the automatic, although I definitely could do the colors a little bit better. You can do more fine-tune adjustments over here. If you click this and then you click these three dots here, you can actually adjust things like temperature and stuff like that. There's sharpness. You can get it a little bit better down there. There's an HDR mode. Doesn't seem to work super great. Let's turn that on, see what we get. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. That doesn't look great at all. Let's try turning the auto exposure and white balance back on. That's actually not bad. That's a bit better. There's these two, actually, I have found to be quite useful. The low light compensation and backlight compensation. Those have been very nice for me at the moment because I don't have curtains on that window yet. So it's a little hard to counterbalance the lighting angles. I do have a light up here. Let's turn that off and I'll show you. So here is me without the light on and without the backlight and low light compensation. It's pretty dark, pretty dingy. Turn those back on, it's a little bit better. Like it's not perfect, obviously. It's still much better with the actual light turned on, but it's not bad. It's a big step up from nothing, that's for sure. So the HyperX Vision S MSRP's at $199.99. It's more expensive than webcams like the Logitech Brio, which can go up to 4K. It's a little cheaper than the Elgato Facecam Pro, but that can do 4K 60 frames per second, so that's a little bit of a better camera than this one. Overall, I think the picture quality is pretty good, but the software being buggy is kind of a bummer, and so that kind of makes it a little bit of a mixed bag price-wise. It's not necessarily priced inappropriately, but it is quite expensive, and when you pay $200 for a webcam, you expect it to work pretty much flawlessly, and so that is a bit of a bummer. Keeping all that in mind, we're still actually going to give this a 4 out of 5, partially really hoping that HyperX fixes the software. Again, like, we can't promise that to you though, so keep that in mind when you're making a purchase. Still, it's a very good webcam. In terms of picture quality, this is one of the best webcams that I've seen. And it's not easy to get this kind of picture quality at a $200 price point. The build quality on this is also very good. So 4 out of 5 is the best we can muster, but also we might be being a little generous even going that far. So it's a little bit of a toss-up. Why don't you go ahead and leave us a comment down below. Let us know what you think, what kind of score you would have given, and whether or not you will be considering this for your webcam. While you're at it, please like and subscribe. We've got a lot more content coming real soon, and we'd hate for you to miss any of it. Okay, everybody, thanks for watching. Happy gaming.